Lexi Hall getting downhill, finds the bucket and one.
Caitlin Clark has never been one to bottle up emotion, whether it's joy, frustration, or sheer competitive fire. The Indiana Fever rookie sensation plays every minute with her heart on her sleeve. On Sunday night at Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena, that passion reached a boiling point and, this time, the microphone caught every syllable. In a moment that is now racing across social media, Clark shouted a searing 7-word statement to a WNBA official that summed up not just her reaction to a missed call, but the frustration that's been simmering all season long. The words, "You were right in front of her." It wasn't just an outburst, it was a battle cry. A raw, real-time explosion of disbelief that resonated with thousands of fans watching live, and millions more who've since seen the viral clip online. But beneath that short phrase lies a bigger conversation, one about officiating, player treatment, and the growing pains of a superstar in her rookie season under a glaring spotlight. The exchange occurred late in the first quarter as the Fever held a dominant 17-5 lead over the Seattle Storm. With just over 2 minutes remaining on the clock, Clark watched a blatant foul go uncalled. The Storm's defender clearly made contact, but the referee swallowed the whistle. For Clark, already keyed up in a nationally televised matchup, it was the final straw. She spun toward the referee, face etched with disbelief, and fired off the now-famous line, "You were right in front of her." No swearing, no name-calling, just 7 words sharp, undeniable, and echoing across arenas, living rooms, and timelines everywhere. This wasn't the first time Clark had shown fire toward officiating this season. In fact, her rising frustration with the whistle, or lack thereof, has become one of the defining undercurrents of her rookie campaign. In early July, during a heated matchup with the Connecticut Sun, Clark again clashed with the referees, this time so emotionally that her own head coach had to hold her back after another questionable note. That game was also the same night Clark suffered a right groin injury, adding physical pain to the emotional toll she was already carrying. And while Clark's reactions may seem dramatic to some, too many WNBA fans and players, they feel deeply justified. The league's officiating has been under unprecedented scrutiny this season. According to data gathered by ESPN Research, foul whistles are currently averaging 18.7 per game, the highest rate since 2017. More startling, flagrant fouls are projected to hit 52 by season's end, placing this season in the top 3 most aggressive years in modern WNBA history. Technical fouls, often the byproduct of emotional frustration, are also climbing on pace to reach 191, which would rank 6th all-time on an adjusted basis for a 44-game schedule. And so, Clark's 7-word declaration doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's the soundbite that crystallizes a much broader problem. For every clip of Caitlin shouting at a referee, there are dozens of moments where players across the league have thrown up their hands in disbelief, taken hits without calls, or been forced to adapt to what feels like inconsistent enforcement. But Clark's moment went viral for a reason. She's not just any player, she's the face of a new generation. The former Iowa star shattered NCAA scoring records, brought millions of new fans into the women's basketball fold, and now finds herself at the center of a cultural movement within the WNBA. Every game she plays is dissected online. Every reaction is clipped, captioned, and debated. And every word she says becomes part of a larger narrative about how young stars are being welcomed or challenged by the league's power structures. The microphone catching her voice on Sunday only amplified the moment. As she turned and shouted toward the referee, the hot mic picked up her words with chilling clarity. Her voice didn't crack. It didn't waver. It rang out, unwavering, and filled with righteous anger. For fans watching at home, it was a jarring moment of transparency, a star athlete expressing what so many fans and players have felt throughout the season. And to be clear, Clark wasn't wrong. On the replay, it's easy to see the contact. The Storm defender clearly made contact with the Fever player in front of the referee. In any normal situation, the foul would have been whistled immediately. But on this night, like too many others, the call never came. And when a generational talent like Clark points it out so clearly, people listen. Social media exploded within minutes. The video clip racked up millions of views across X, TikTok, and Instagram. Hashtags like #you were right in front of her, #ClarkVs, REFS, and #WNBA officiating began trending. Even analysts and former players weighed in. ESPN's Chinny Ogwimik praised Clark for her composure despite the emotion. She's not backing down, but she's not disrespecting. That's leadership, Ogwimik said on the post-game show. Others, including vocal critics of officiating standards, called on the league to review its internal processes and take a deeper look at how stars are treated on the court. Of course, some critics argued that Clark needs to show more restraint. That is a rookie. She should earn her stripes before challenging authority. But that argument misses the point. Clark isn't trying to gain attention. She already has it. What she's asking for is fairness. For consistency. For the game to be called with the same standard, no matter who's holding the whistle. And, if we zoom out even further, Clark's moment highlights something even more important. The emotional intensity of women's sports. For decades, female athletes were told to be quiet, to play like ladies, to suppress emotion for the sake of decorum. But this new era, led by fierce competitors like Clark, Angel Reese, Aja Wilson, and others, is rewriting that rulebook. Emotion isn't a liability, it's part of the game. And when that emotion reveals deeper cracks in the system, it becomes a catalyst for change. Clark's Fever went on to win the game 78-74, a hard-fought battle that proved yet again why she's the heart of this team, despite the missed calls, the physical defense, and the emotional roller coaster of the night. Clark finished with poise, facilitating offense, pushing pace, and directing traffic like a seasoned veteran. Her box score wasn't the hit, was her presence, her command, and her unwillingness to be silenced. Teammates rallied behind her after the game. Alia Boston, who has become a powerful on-court ally for Clark this season, addressed the moment in the locker room. We see it too, she's not crazy. We all know that should have been a foul. I love that she spoke up. That's who we are, we speak up. Head coach Christy Sides was more measured, but didn't hide her thoughts either. We'll send the tape to the league. We've done it before. We'll keep doing it. That's all I'll say. Behind the scenes, WNBA officials remain tight-lipped, but league insiders say reviews of officiating decisions this season have already increased behind closed doors. The competition committee reportedly met last week to discuss trends in foul calling, and several general managers have submitted formal feedback about the number of flagrant fouls and missed technicals in a season where the league is drawing more viewers than ever before. The stakes for consistency have never been higher. Caitlin Clark didn't plan for this moment. She didn't step onto the court with a script or a camera crew. She stepped onto the hardwood like she always does, with focus, intensity, and a deep love for the game. But when that whistle stayed silent, and the moment called for truth, she spoke. Not with profanity, not with violence, but with 7 words that pierced through the noise and told the truth. You were right in front of her. That sentence will follow Clark for the rest of her season and, maybe, her career. It's a soundbite for the highlight reels. But more than that, it's a symbol of how this rookie, still adjusting to life in the pros, refuses to back down from the challenges in front of her. And in doing so, she's become more than just a player, she's become a voice. As the Fever chase a playoff berth and Clark continues to battle through the physical and emotional rigors of a historic rookie year, fans and analysts alike will be watching. Not just for the deep threes or the slick passes, but for the leadership, the fire, and the moments like this one where she refuses to let the game forget its soul. Whether it's the next game or the next season, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark isn't here to just play. She's here to demand better from herself, from her team, and yes, from the referees. And the whole world is listening.
And we'll come the other way, the 2-point advantage. Clark on Sheldon.
The WNBA has seen its fair share of emotional moments over the years, but few have resonated quite like Caitlin Clark's now vehicle 7-word outburst aimed at an official during the Indiana Fever's 78-74 win over the Seattle Storm. It wasn't just a moment of frustration, it was a moment that encapsulated an entire season's worth of tension, scrutiny, and emotional endurance. And yet, in an ironic twist, Clark wasn't even on the court when the Fever pulled off their 5th straight win. She was sidelined for the 7th consecutive game, watching and supporting from the bench, still recovering from a groin injury that has tested her patience as much as her body. But even from the bench, Clark stole the spotlight. The now-famous quote, "You were right in front of her," was shouted with raw disbelief at a referee who missed what looked like an obvious foul. The Fever were holding on to a commanding 17-5 lead in the first quarter when the call, or lack thereof, knighted Clark's passion. The camera caught everything. Her voice was clear. Her face was unreadable, yet bursting with intensity, and in just 7 words. Caitlin Clark reignited a league-wide debate that's been bubbling beneath the surface for years. Is WNBA officiating consistent? And are rising stars like Clark receiving fair treatment? Clark's fiery comment instantly struck a chord with fans. Social media exploded. The clip was reposted by major outlets within minutes. Millions of views later, it was clear this wasn't just about a missed call. It was about accountability. It was about the spotlight the league now finds itself under thanks to Clark's unprecedented draw. And it was about what happens when a new face of the WNBA refuses to stay quiet. This particular game in Seattle was supposed to be just another stop on the Fever's playoff push. But the game turned into a larger story about resilience, about momentum, and about the silent power of presence. Because even though Caitlin Clark was injured, sidelined since July 15th after sustaining a painful right groin injury in a physical matchup against the Connecticut Sun, her influence was still undeniable. She's now missed 16 regular season games due to that injury. Yet her shadow still looms large over every Fever possession. The Fever's performance against the Storm proved that the team is growing, adjusting, and learning to win even without their brightest star on the floor. After building a 73-61 lead late in the fourth quarter, Indiana weathered a relentless 11-0 Seattle run that brought the game within 1 point. With just over 3 minutes left, it looked like the Fever might collapse under pressure. But Seattle's offense stalled, missing their next 5 shots. The Fever, toughened by weeks of playing without Clark, stayed composed and closed the game out. They improved to 17-12 on the season, a far cry from the team that started the year unsure of its identity. Caitlin Clark may be the centerpiece, but this is now a team with multiple weapons, rising confidence, and grit under pressure. Still, no matter how many wins pile up, much of the WNBA discourse continues to orbit around 2 themes: Caitlin Clark's physical absence and her increasingly vocal reactions to league officiating, and for good reason. The Indiana rookie has taken more than just bumps and bruises this year. She's taken hit after hit with little whistle protection. According to recent data, WNBA officiating has come under heavier fire than ever before. Foul whistles are up to 18.7 per game, the highest rate since 2017. Technical fouls are climbing fast, on pace for 191 by season's end. And flagrant fouls, those that go beyond standard physicality, are projected to hit 52 this year, marking the 3rd highest total in WNBA history under a 44-game format. Yet even with those stats, fans and players alike have expressed frustration at how uneven the calls feel, particularly toward star players. For Clark, that frustration has boiled over several times already. During her July 15th game against the Sun, the very night she suffered her groin injury, she had to be physically restrained by her coaching staff after reacting to yet another note. That wasn't a one-off. It was the 2nd or 3rd instance in a season already littered with questionable moments. The WNBA is in a transitional era, with soaring popularity, increased viewership, and a generation of new fans who followed Clark from Iowa into the pros. But with that growth comes growing pains, and officiating is quickly becoming the league's Achilles heel. When officiating undermines fairness or fails to protect the league's most visible stars, it risks alienating the very audience it's trying to build, and that's where Clark's outburst hits hardest. Most player-referee disagreements are brief, private, and unnoticed. But Clark's 7-word flare-up offered a raw, unfiltered view into the emotional burden players are carrying. The clip didn't just capture a moment, it captured a movement, one where athletes are tired of swallowing frustration, one where younger stars are refusing to accept outdated standards of silence and composure. That doesn't mean Clark disrespected the officials. On the contrary, many praised how measured her language was. She didn't curse, she didn't insult. She simply pointed out the obvious and did so in front of millions. Her emotional honesty, paired with the undeniable truth of the moment, made the clip go viral. Fans didn't just see frustration, they saw courage. And they saw a player demanding accountability, not just for herself, but for the integrity of the game. Her teammates had her back. Fever center Aaliyah Boston, a rising force in her own right, said after the game, "Caitlin's a fighter. We all saw it. That was a foul. And she said what we were all thinking." Head coach Christy Sides was careful with her words, but noted that they'd be submitting the footage to the league office for review as they've done several times already this season. Injury or not, Clark remains a galvanizing force for the Fever. Her presence on the bench is steadying. Her voice is commanding, and her visibility continues to bring attention to everything the WNBA is doing, right, and everything it still needs to fix. Some argue Clark should remain composed, that such emotional reactions are unbecoming of a rookie still finding her footing in a veteran league. But that argument feels outdated. The WNBA is not the same league it was even 5 years ago. It's faster, louder, bolder, and the players are too. Caitlin Clark didn't enter this league to fit into an old mold. She's here to help build something new. And yes, the Fever are learning to win without her. But make no mistake, Caitlin Clark is still the center of gravity in the WNBA universe. Every game she watches, every word she utters, and every move she makes becomes a headline. Because, love her or hate her, everyone is watching. This season may go down as one of the most emotionally charged in WNBA history. From officiating drama to injuries, from viral moments to historic comebacks, it's a roller coaster. But Clark's journey is becoming its most compelling storyline, whether she's on the court drilling logo threes or off it demanding better officiating. She's forcing the league to evolve in real time. And as the playoffs loom and the Fever position themselves as legitimate contenders, fans are asking the same questions we are. Is Caitlin Clark right to call out the officials? Or should emotional reactions like these be kept behind the scenes? We want to know what you think. Drop your opinion in the comments below. Are you Team Clark, supporting her fiery honesty? Or do you believe she should let her play speak louder than her voice? Either way, one thing is undeniable. Caitlin Clark has changed the game, and she's just getting started. If you've made it this far, and you love staying updated on all things WNBA, especially every